Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast. I'm John Norgrove. This is Julie Norgrove. This is Horn and Cauldron podcast. Your witchy podcast special place.
Yeah, we're your special place.
Yeah, we're the path in the woods that will lead you to all sort of mysticism and love and such. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
So
potentially hijinks.
Potentially, yeah, weird fucking hijinks.
Yeah.
Anywho, so this particular episode, it's late, you know.
Not if you're listening to this later than when it came out, then it could be early.
Yeah, it's exactly on time when it was. Listen, a wizard never arrives late. He arrives precisely when he intends to. I will live and die by that creed.
The amount of times that you have said that to me is... like, every time you say that to me is, like, a little enraging, because you are quoting Lord of the Rings at me at a moment where I am already stressed, and I cannot disagree with your logic.
Yeah, the logic is so sound, but I'm just running gently behind us. Listen, I either arrive 45 minutes late to your thing because I was distracted doing other stuff, or 45 minutes early to your thing because I'm like, this looks fun, and I show up early, and I'm just like, when's the fun gonna start? Yeah. I just arrived precisely when I intend to. There's not a plan here. I'm not trying to, like, jilt people or whatever that word is.
You're not really intending to arrive at a time. You are intending to arrive.
Listen, man, clock in and clock out times are your corporate overlords convincing you into slavery. I'm not going to participate in this shit. Go fuck yourself. That's what I have to say about that. It's not goddamn important. All right? So, anyway, this episode is about Beltane. This is Beltane 105?
105.
We're going to say 105 and correct it in post if I have to. I'm not going to correct it in post.
Yeah.
This is Beltane 105, where we decided to do for this year's Sabbat, blots, if you will, is look at magic in media. So look at movies, find movies that sort of represent the vibe. In a cruel twist of fate, our Beltane movie choice. Spring movies. We had some difficulty picking movies out, which is why we joined the last two together. But we kind of had we had like a pretty instantaneous pull on this Sabbat, but we had to justify it in our heads after the fact. And it's because when we thought of Beltane, the first movie that came to both of our minds was
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Which is obviously, it's got Midsummer in the name. The fucking name. But it feels so Beltane coded.
The vibes of A Midsummer Night's Dream are way more Beltane coded than Midsummer coded, so we decided to go with it.
For sure.
And what, you may ask, are those themes?
Which of these movies did we watch? Which is a gently more important part.
What are the themes of Beltane, you may ask?
Oh, flowers and stuff.
Yeah, flowers and stuff. Done. That's it. Video over.
Get out of here.
No, Beltane is the second,
is the
third.
The final of the spring
of the spring Sabbats. Beltane comes close to my birthday, so it's one of my favorite ones to celebrate. Yeah. And Beltane sort of has a lot of the same, like, themes that you have in the earlier spring Sabbats with, rebirth and fertility and stuff like that.
Fertility and transformation. But at the end of the spring season, right? The beginning of the spring season is like death of winter, new growth, coming back, right? Transformation and stuff like that.
And the Beltane theme is literally Backstreet's Back. All right.
And Beltane is
really
like not even a little bit, yeah.
You guys can laugh at home. I know you love me.
Beltane is you no longer need to worry about the death of winter. We done killed him. His effigy has been burned. Beltane is like spring in full bloom.
Yes.
Right? It is like the spring of youth. It's not the puppy love. This is why it works with A Midsummer Night's Dream, by the by. It's not the puppy love of early, it's not the like simple puppy love of the very beginning. Love at first sight, sort of birth of love sort of energy. It's the like love in fruition.
Yes.
Right? It's the like completion of the act of love. It's
and also the completion of the act of love.
It is absolutely, that was the octuple entendre that I intended it to be here. And I think this is why we kind of immediately were drawn towards A Midsummer Night's Dream, because the movie, though starting in the that one lady inappropriately chasing that gentleman who like 900 times denied her and said no, being the early puppy love of the story.
Yeah.
Right? The fruition of the story is and we will address the concerning parts. The acceptance and completion of love and them getting married and a silly play happening.
Yeah.
So it has that like end of spring, maturity of spring, and now you're moving on into the summertime of your life where you're married and you're living your life and having kids and buying a house or whatever the hell
like
these fancy
flirty
Greeks were
and
doing.
fun and also filled with possibilities.
Exactly.
And also Beltane is the other side of the Sabbat wheel from Samhain, so Halloween, and Beltane is often thought of as a time when the veil is thin.
Yeah.
In
it's a
between
very
this world
fey-coded
and the
time,
next. So it's a very
which is
fey-coded time.
incredibly Midsummer coded.
Yeah.
Right.
We've also got festivities, which are huge for Beltane. You know, it's kind of like now everybody, like all the snow is melted now. Like we're all ready to party. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and we're also looking at like big themes of fertility. May is traditionally in Western cultures sort of the beginning of wedding season. So like you've got a lot of this like love flying around, flowers, gardens, lighthearted, again, the like love and like flirty and fun aspects.
The flowers and the fae and the sort of like the sort of end of early adventure and beginning of the like larger, bigger adventure. You know, it's like, it's now finally like, I don't know, is this weekend gonna be
and like
rainy
full
or
of possibilities?
Summery? Like out here in California, it's like by the time you hit Beltane, it's like the last few, like maybe the last one rainstorm, and then the rest of the time it's getting hotter.
Yeah, my birthday,
like
which
4 months.
is right after Beltane, is like, I never know whether it's going to be like stormy and rainy, like the last grasp of winter, or it's going to be beautiful and sunny and warm. It is nothing in the middle. It is only one of those two things.
Yeah.
So it's always a fun moment for me to try to plan a birthday party.
Yeah, right. Because we've had birthday parties where it's hot and like nobody's inside. It's too hot. Everybody be outside. And we've had your birthday where we've set up a teepee over the fire pit to like block the rain from putting our fire pit out because we're trying to do a ritual like, and we need a fire pit.
Legitimately storming.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Like cold and like don't go out camping because the roads are going to close kind of thing. Like
exactly.
Wild stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of why we chose, I mean, that's like you know, the like basic overlook of the themes of Beltane. And obviously if you want more in-depth looks at all of the like Beltanery of it all, like we've got the previous
check out all the other
for
episodes.
Beltane. They'll be linked in wherever their links are. But you can also just go to nerdjive.com and look those up. But so like that's going to give you like the more in-depth look. This is sort of an overview and then like rationale of the movie and then a breakdown of the movies and why we sort of thought a little why this like like inculcates the holiday, the Sabbat, like into the movie and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so to that regard, we actually ended up watching 2 versions of A Midsummer Night's Dream. When we first thought about this, we were specifically thinking of the 1999 version.
Yes.
With,
although I have
with
like
Ally McBeal.
I have like a special connection to A Midsummer Night's Dream. That was the first like big play I had ever acted in like middle school, and it's something that holds like a special place in my heart. 1, because y'all know how much I love the Fae, and 2, because I am a theater kid at heart. So give me that Billy Shakes.
It is also like probably it's probably one of the kookiest Billy Shakes.
Because I played the wall which is a fantastic part.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of like fond memories and fond feelings for this
If I were
story.
to be in a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, I would 100% want to be either one of the players in the play or specifically the King of the Fairies like psychotic henchman.
Yeah.
But that's only because the psychotic henchman is exactly as kooky as all of the players. And the players are just like low grade my favorite part.
Yeah.
Right? And
really it's a fantastic story that's like Inception, so it's like a play within a play. So that's super duper fun.
Yeah. Well, it's so fucking clearly Billy Shakes kind of poo-pooing on both
Well,
other playwrights and on people judging plays, like on the like review.
Yes,
I mean, he does a lot of stuff that's like that.
This is Billy Shakespeare looking directly at you as the audience and basically doing a Deadpool. This is Billy Shakespeare's Deadpool.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
it's
absolutely.
Fourth wall breaking. It's self-aware as shit. And I think that it's very, I was saying last night, it's very Chaucer coded. You know, Chaucer has that, you know, he's like going to eviscerate you in prose kind of energy.
Yeah. And if you're not sure who Chaucer is, that's the guy from A Knight's Tale.
That's the naked guy with a gambling problem from A Knight's Tale, played by Vision. It's
that's right.
I'm going to go so far as to say the best representation of Chaucer I've ever seen in my entire life.
Fantastic.
It's so good.
Absolutely.
11 out of 10.
Yeah.
But so it's very Chaucer coded, the entire, like sort of the background energy of the play.
Yeah.
Is very Chaucer coded. So we watched the 1999 version, which is like.
So first of all, we looked at a bunch of different versions. We had sort of like accidentally stumbled across the 2022 version when it came out, and we were just like, it's not great. This is not great. It's not great. It wasn't what we wanted out of it.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, the people who did it probably did a fine enough job. I don't really remember any of the fine details.
So then I had to
like
search
really
for where the 1999 version is, and there are about 1 million versions of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
So
both
FYI,
in movie form and in like plays that are recorded, because obviously this is like a 300-year-old story.
Yeah,
a 400-year-old story.
You're going to want to watch it on, if you want to watch the 1999 version, the best place to find it is on Amazon, but you got to buy it. Or like pick it up on DVD if you can find a DVD of it. Yeah. We're actually going to look for a DVD of it and try to get a DVD of it.
Yeah, and if you are looking for DVDs of it, definitely check out your local library. They may have that stuff available for streaming or for renting.
Yeah.
It was not available for us in that method.
Yeah. So we watched that, and we're going to go into that in a bit here. Both versions that we watched, because we ended up watching 2 versions last night. Both versions that we watched are like full Shakespeare. There's no, you know, it's like more Shakespearean than Romeo x Juliet.
No, because that's also full Shakespeare.
Is that full Shakespeare?
It is full Shakespeare. Absolutely.
I thought there was some like linguistic changes in that.
Okay. Not even a little bit.
So I guess it's in the same vibe. It feels more Shakespeare. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you why. It's because Ally McBeal, what is her real name?
Callista Flockhart.
Callista Flockhart. Okay. Callista Flockhart is one of the best Shakespearean actors, genuinely, that I've ever seen.
And it also feels that way because we have like mega stars in this.
Oh yeah,
it's got
dummy mega stars in it. But we were talking about this like it was like halfway through the movie, not even halfway through the movie. And like, you know, everybody's doing their lines and it's all like Shakespearean and stuff like that. But Callista Flockhart has this capacity to deliver the Shakespearean lines with such like veracity, with such tenor, and like that it not only did it feel like
she's giving you the crazy girlfriend meme this whole time.
Exactly. But she's doing it in such a way where it's more intelligible. And like, I don't have an issue with understanding Shakespeare. I don't think Shakespeare's like that difficult necessarily. I've also like read and listened to and like watched a lot of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So that's different, right? But like the way she delivers Shakespeare is so normal feeling that it makes it easier, in fact, to understand. Yeah. It's like she's easily the best one in that movie. She delivers her Shakespeare with just absolute, like, this is just the way that she talks. Outside of this movie, she still talks like that. Like, it's so wildly good.
That's one of the interesting things about adaptations of Shakespeare, and not even really adaptations, but like when you see something that is Shakespeare, that is actually in Shakespearean, like, verse, basically, you really get to see the caliber of the actor and how well they understand that particular role that they're playing. And Callista Flockhart knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely fucking nailed it.
So did Christian Bale. It has been a very long time since I have seen Christian Bale in a role where he is the heartthrob. Because arguably, he's not the heartthrob in Batman.
No. No, he's not.
He's not the heartthrob in American Psycho. When's
Well,
the last
no,
thing?
he shouldn't be at least.
Yeah,
dude.
it depends.
Come on, guys, get your shit together.
Current romanticy standards aside.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, and I was really like, oh God, that's right. Like he is like a
he was the heartthrob
kind of
Well,
guy.
we were recently also talking about the fact that there's a lot of actors that are like more serious roles nowadays.
Yeah.
That were like used to be heartthrobs.
Well, and also Stanley Tucci. Absolutely slayed this role. His laugh cracks me up every time.
He's so good.
Yeah.
So
and
good.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Titania, the queen of the fairies, is perfect.
Delicious.
Because she was like in her Catwoman era then, and
The-
it was
the-
just like
the,
dreamy.
The gentleman who plays the player who becomes the donkey, whose name escapes me right now.
The guy from Wild Wild West.
He's also the mad scientist from Wild Wild West, is perfect in that role.
Yeah.
He plays this like over-the-top play man who's just absolutely gassing people up. I also like that they didn't go full donkey. They went like 50-50. They went like clown donkey a little bit with it in like a really good way for that. So, yeah, I mean, everybody did a banger job. I think the like king and his wife or emperor and his wife, whoever the fuck that is.
That's the Theseus and his wife Hippolyta. Well, they're not married yet.
Well,
but by the end they are.
I think he did
Kevin
a great
Kline,
job.
That was the donkey.
Yeah. Kevin Kline is so good.
Yeah, and Rupert Everett is Oberon, the king of the fairies.
And Oberon is fantastic. I mean, overall, it's good. It's highly stylized. In fact, I would argue that I think there should it is the perfect example of committing to doing Shakespeare. They commit 100%. Does it make sense that these teens just rode their bikes into the woods to take naps under trees and shit? Not at all. But, and I cannot stress this enough, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it. It's the play. Just do it. It makes no more or less sense than anything else that's happening in the play.
Also, it should be noted that this is a period piece. It takes place in like Regency era.
Fucking
even though the play itself is supposed to take place in ancient Greece.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they keep saying like, oh, but he's got the like reeds of a Thesean or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And he's just in a suit.
Yeah. So we watched the 1999 version, and then we were basically like,
so after we
want more.
After we got done with that, we wanted to check out, because we heard some stuff online about checking out the 65 or the 69 version.
Okay,
nice.
The date on this version is an absolute nightmare. So sometimes when you look it up, the date is 1968, sometimes it's 1969, and sometimes it is 1970.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on when it's being picked
up. Yeah. So this version is put on by the Royal Shakespearean Society.
Yes.
It is not filmed on a stage. It's like filmed in like location. So I just like rung the heck out of that glass.
Just ringing that bell.
So it's like done in locations and sets. It's also a period piece, but its period piece is 70s. But so but only kind of.
But also not really.
Yeah, but only kind of, because like the gals are dressed in like 60s, 70s fashion.
Yeah.
Kinda. But the guys are all dressed like Farquaad.
And they all had little Peter Pan collars, also very like 60s, 70s.
Yeah, yes. But like earlier, they felt like more like early. It's a very weird
specific
one. Also, all the elves are green.
Yeah, all the fairies are green.
Or fairies are green. I mean, Orion's slave girl, Star Trek the original series green. Yeah. Full committal lead-based paint green.
And I really like the portrayal of some of the characters in this. Like it's for me, the 1999 one is peak, right? But this one is really good because these characters also very clearly understood what they were doing.
I think the jackass,
but also
is first of all, they go full jackass,
full donkey,
which
head.
Is full donkey head, which is wild.
Yeah,
but he comes off as, you know, and it's funny in the 99 version, he comes off as sort of like a little bit of an asshole. He's a little bit of an ass. And so, like, he's cursed with being a jackass and, like, whatever. But it all sort of makes sense. Like, he's still cute enough, I guess. He's still not, like, that rude to the fairy folk, but they get tired in the long run of it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 69 version, he is just an ass.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately to these, because the fairies
Yeah.
are played by kids, immediately to these fairies, he is just like an asshole.
Yeah. And also the 1968 version has
We're calling it the 69 version because
the 69 version
Yeah,
has
nice.
Ian Holm as Puck in it.
Sir, nowadays,
Yeah,
Sir Ian Holm.
So Bilbo
Yeah.
Baggins is Puck in this, and in general, this is very kind of fever dreamy.
I'm trying to
as
think of
far
where
as
that
things
aligns
go.
with Patrick Stewart being part of that, because I don't think he ever had a chance to work with Ian Holm, but in his autobiography, if I remember correctly, it's been like a year since I listened to it. If I remember correctly, he's like, Ian Holm is such a presence in Shakespeare in Britain at the time that it's like he's like and off-putting to be around because he's such a powerful actor.
Well, and it's young Ian Holm, and it's
wild shit.
It is
in this.
Wild.
Yeah.
You thought
Tucci was like a lot.
This
as
movie
this
is
character.
Fully unhinged. The whole movie is completely unhinged.
Because the elves pop in, or they're
not elves.
The fairies, sorry.
Yeah.
It's because they're green. I want to call them elves in the 69, and I don't know why. That makes sense in my mind. But they like pop in and out through just like hard cuts.
Yeah.
Right? And they do this to like show the magicalness or whatever. And every time they pop in, is specifically his character. Every time he pops in and he's like squunched down like what's his name from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, like Gollum.
Like he's like crouched. He's like squatched down like Gollum, and he goes like.
Yeah,
and then he delivers his lines.
He's like moving his tongue around in like a
there's a scene that keeps cutting back and forth
way.
Between him and Oberon, and they cut to Oberon, and Oberon's like delivering his soliloquy.
But also Oberon looks like he has no clue where he is.
Oh my god, that guy was baked out of his
He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Movie.
That guy was on.
He was delivering the lines fantastically. That guy was so baked. Good for him, sir.
Yeah.
You did a banger job. But it's like him doing it. They're like in a pond or something, and he's delivering his lines. This is when he's first trying to like get. He's like first being like, we gotta flower these dudes' eyes so that way we can get them, right? And he's like delivering this line, and as he's delivering this line, right, his little minion goes like, yeah, yes, He's making sounds of affirmation. But what the camera's doing, because the camera's not 3/4 shot wide. The camera's tight on Oberon, and then it just fucking jump cuts to the minion. And this guy is looking at two motherfuckers. His eyes are like purposefully wide apart, looking in two different directions. And he goes like, ah. Yeah. And then he's like, the soliloquy, and it jumps back, and he's like, there. And it's so funny, dude. I was cracking up.
We were
it's
laughing pretty hard.
It's such a wild movie. Like, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
After you watch the 99, go watch the 69.
Do it immediately.
Immediately after. And not only see the difference, but also just how differently you can approach it. Because it's the exact same lines. The exact same story. The exact same beats. Right? They're not straying from Billy Shake's copy. Right? Yeah. But it's just presented in a viscerally and violently different way.
So incredibly different.
It's so
it was a really good watch
random.
as like a double feature. So,
oh yeah, absolutely recommend.
So absolutely recommend doing this as a double feature. So this is also an accidental double feature video.
Yeah. Also, the crazy girlfriend is two things on the like differences between the two, and I don't necessarily I wouldn't say one is better than the other. They just present stuff differently. The 69 has the addition of the fact that the crazy girl, the girl who's like crazy in love with the guy, is way more threatening in the 69.
Yeah.
Right? Callista Flockhart in the 99 is like a problem that needs to be addressed.
She's like crazy,
for sure. She's
manic
crazy.
Pixie dream girl in that.
But she's not like a threat to your life.
In the 69 version, she might cut a part of your body off.
She would eat your hair, you know?
Yeah.
She's like a real threat.
She's a
she
problem.
comes off real crazy, right? So she's a part of the problem. And then the other main difference is that in the 99, they're like, we're going to go on an adventure into the woods. And the woods have like a bunch of ruins and like beautiful walking pathways and like glens and like flowers and trees.
It doesn't feel inherently dangerous.
Right. Whereas in the 69, there are scenes that are just shot with, like, both actors as close as Julie and I are right now sitting side by side, and the cameraman sitting closer than the camera that's filming us is sitting in a bush.
Yeah.
Just in a fucking hedge, the whole sequence. At one point in time, they're crawling through hedges, like, we're gonna go on an adventure in the woods energy. And you're like,
woods
what?
Feel menacing.
It is a significantly more threatening movie overall.
If you had a different score on this movie, this would be a horror movie.
Exactly, yeah.
So this was like a fully unhinged way to watch it, and we absolutely support it.
Highly recommend.
So
we may watch the 39
we probably
later
will.
tonight.
Yeah.
Just because I want to see the older one and see if it's more or less crazy. Because it goes like 99, it's pretty crazy. It's Billy Shakes, it's fairies and stuff. What do you expect, right? And then the 69 is like an order of magnitude more crazy for like a myriad of reasons, right? And I can only imagine the 39 is going to be like a very reasonable movie, and that's great. It's going to be a fucking fever dream.
I think it's going to be.
I think it's going to be a straight fever
dream
and I'm
territory.
so jazzed about that, dude.
So maybe we do a little addendum to this video.
Yeah. You may get follow us on TikTok. You may get a TikTok addendum to rank these nightmare movies.
So let's talk about the themes of Beltane and Midsummer.
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah. So Midsummer Night's Dream, like the main sort of plot beat for the lovers characters is that they're either in love or not in love, and they end up in the forest, and the fairies go and basically do love magic on them, as well as the Queen of the Fairies, Queen Titania, because her and Oberon are like on a break or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this really makes you think about sort of the ethics of love magic, and this shows the sort of like funny, wacky bloopers of how love magic can go wrong.
Yeah.
So
I think
you've got a lot of that.
Bloopers sort of hide a significantly more concerning, and I don't think that we necessarily need to go too deep into this, because again, it's old Billy Shakes, different time, whatever. But it's incredibly fucking sus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, everything works out.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, it's better for the Empire or whatever, right? But also, they did kind of like
remove free will from these characters, and then they fell in love.
Yeah, they kind of shattered a dude's mind, so that way he loves a crazy girlfriend, and like that's morally wrong.
And also, she did not want to marry him originally, and now she ends up wanting to marry him. So there are some like sort of ethical complaints that you may have about this, particularly in the removing free will.
What's that flower do when you dip it on people's eyes and they no longer have free will? Okay, well, that's sus. Cover your drinks, you know?
Yeah,
that kind of energy. So that's bullshit.
Yeah, obviously, love magic has ethical considerations to go into it.
Yeah.
And particularly, consent. And when you remove consent from the love magic,
not a drop of it
into a place that's just like generally not cool. Yeah. That doesn't mean that stops my enjoyment of this story, mind you, but that's because of what it is and the nostalgia factor attached to it.
It's part nostalgia,
and also it's silly.
It's part silly, so it's like it's playing it up for jokes. Sort of. It's part because it's Billy Shakes, and you know it's that like if you're watching a movie from the 20s and they're doing a sass, we can as adults sit down with a modern perspective of understanding and go like, that's horse shit and people shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make the movie less valid. You know, it's that like...
And also playing it for laughs gives you the like, ha 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 ha. That's funny. But like if that happened, I would really actually be horrified and angry.
And for what it's worth, and I think this is a conversation point that doesn't come up a lot when we analyze old-timey stuff with like a take that's no longer copacetic, is that like, this is also not real.
Yeah.
Right? And just like when you watch an action movie, when you watch Taken, murdering is bad. But when Liam Neeson murders all those French guys who kidnapped his daughter, that's good in the moment. So there's a little bit of that we kind of have to accept as part of that thing. You know, I mean, this happens in like Star Wars movies and superhero movies and like kind of everything. We sort of have to suspend a little bit of reality because you're in, and this play, this story, all of the characters exist in a form of hyper reality, far like removed from the like moral practical reality that we live in. Yeah. Because moral practical reality, almost everything that happens in this play is like heinously disrespectful. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But also, it's a play. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And, you know, so there's like a multiplicity of conversations we could have about that. And in fact, I would recommend, if we want to have a conversation about that, we should, in the comment section of the YouTube video, like, have you seen this or any other version? What version do you think is the best? And then, like, what do you think about the things that are in a modern light less than acceptable? Yeah. Or unacceptable or absolutely heinous? Because kind of all three of those things happen simultaneously. Yes. Yeah. Right?
So another thing that I noticed that was interesting in this that kind of ties into the love magic side of things is in the 1999 version, they use the same type of flower over and over to cause them to, like, when they wake up, they fall in love with whoever they see first. Yeah. And in the 1969 version, it's a different flower every single time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
The only difference is that it's colored flower to get you to fall in love, and it's a white flower to erase the love.
Yeah, but they're also different flowers every time. Yes. So yeah. It's interesting, and it feels like they did it on purpose, and I don't particularly have a preference one way or the other, but this sort of brings up the idea behind the intention behind something versus the, like, correspondences that are traditionally assigned to that thing.
Yeah, and I think the 99 version does a better job, because there's a line when Oberon is first telling his minion, whose name escapes me. Puck. When Oberon is first telling Puck to go acquire this flower, Puck says something to the extent of, like, I'll circumnavigate the globe to find the thing that you look for. Yes. Right? And so he's finding a specific thing, right? Yes. White flower on top of a hill in an island. Yeah. It's a cocaine reference.
Not that one.
But so he's finding a specific flower that has a specific power. Yeah. And they're specifically using red to represent this love. Yeah. Right? And you see that in the, like, red flowers at the very end of the 99 in the field when they're doing the hunt. Yeah. And shit like that, right? Whereas in the 39 version, the initial flower he presents is blue, if I remember correctly. And then I think
the 69. Version,
or 69, right? Excuse me. The 69 version, the first flower they present, I think he presents Oberon with a blue flower. Yeah. And then the second time you see it, I think he has like for what it's worth, it might be the same flower, and this might just be a camera color thing, but it's more green than blue the second time you see that flower in Puck's hand. Yeah. And I wonder if that's a lighting thing. For what it's worth. The only connection, though, is that in both films, the white flower is what erases the magic. Yes. Right? It is the same flower as the red one in the 99.
In the field at the end. Yeah.
In the field at the end, it's the same white flower as the red flower. It's the same shape, it's the same structure, except for it's white instead of red. Yeah. Right? And if I remember correctly, there's a sequence in the 99 that implies that Oberon created the red flower. Yes. He somehow, it has something to do with fairy magic, that the red flower even exists to begin with. But I don't think there are lines in that sequence. No. But in the 30 or in the 69, they don't have that extra caveat. And I don't know why necessarily that was added. I don't know if that's like maybe like set dressing in the play, like an explanation set dressing thing that the 69 just didn't decide to do, or if it maybe fell on the cutting room floor.
But it
could also just be a technological thing.
It's probably just a coherence thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, why are these flowers changing colors?
Yeah. Again, I'm willing to accept that it might be the same flower throughout the movie. Yeah. The 69. And it's just that because
because in one scene it's definitely yellow,
right,
and in one scene it's definitely purple,
right,
and those are on opposite sides of the color spectrum.
No, I understand that, but I wonder if that's a lighting and camera and white balance thing. I don't
think so,
because in most scenes in the 69, there's not actually the presence of white. Which means that they might not be white balancing their shot right.
Oh, that's possible.
Like I wonder if this is purely like a fucking practical film fuck up.
Yeah.
Or for what it's worth, it could just be that this was clearly shot on like a halfpenny's budget.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. From a Royal Society of play actors.
So as far as like the purple flower versus the white flower thing goes, the purple is a color that's not generally associated with 69, love.
It's purple. Well, just in general. It's red in the 99.
No, it's purple.
The flower that they dip on the ice, that's red, dog.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I mean, red is associated with love, for sure. Yeah. And white is associated with
look it up. I'm almost certain it's red because it's the same color as the flowers in the field at the end, which are red flowers in a green field. You can look up the trailer.
I was going to look at the images here. Does it show? There's got to be an image of Stanley Tucci holding...
dipping flowers on people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, while she's looking this up. Okay. Stanley Tucci, fantastic. The sets, fantastic in the 99. I'm not hating on that. But the 69 presents the Fae being invisible in a very specific and special way. And that's just a green dude standing in a bush 1.5 feet away from you. 18 inches from your face, just right absolutely the fuck there. And it is one of the best parts. There are like 3 things that I love about the 69 the most, right? It is one, slam cutting to what's his name? Ian something?
Ian Holm.
Slam cutting to Ian Holm doing like it will never ever not be funny. I don't care. It's perfect. It's a perfect way to be like, this guy's a fae because he's crazy. Absolutely perfect. The second best thing is that when the fae are invisible and watching the regular humans go through stuff, they are just standing in a bush right next to the human, like closer than Julie and I are, right next to you, but I'm standing in a bush and you can't see me. It's never not absolutely fucking hilarious in this movie to no end. And then the third thing that I super, super love is that...
okay, I was wrong. You are right. It was red
okay.
and white. So red is a color traditionally associated with love.
Well, and they specifically mention the red lips of the men and the women folk in the movie.
And the white is like a color for like purity and innocence and cleansing and balance and stuff like that. And sort of like starting from scratch.
The 69 color shifting notwithstanding.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking that like in the 69 one there was definitely a purple
one. Because I think there was a purple one in the 69.
Yeah. Just shows the faulty of memory. So there's all the bits about the love and the bits about the flower and also like we've talked about the fae. Yeah. So and it's perfect that you mentioned that they're like standing right there next to you because like realistically the fae are like nature spirits, so they would be like right there. Yeah. But also they would want to be hidden and they would want to be like sort of appearing and not appearing. And in the 1999 version we have them appearing as like kind of like little Tinkerbells, like little lights as they fly around sometimes. Yeah. In the 69 version, we do not have that. But dude, all of the fae
fucking arrive. They just arrive. It is so
They run
good.
In like little little vagabond children.
Yeah.
And run out. But also when you have like shots of the fae talking, you generally have like very bright, like basically studio lights in the background shining in, and they're sort of shaped to be like a star, but like the plus shaped star, and that kind of like brings through that idea of like sort of like otherworldliness.
Yeah, and I wonder if they specifically the on-set lights in the 69 had covers to give them a star shape, or if they used a 4-leaf closure on the lens, because your camera lens, your bokeh, that's that like blur that makes a star shape. in dark shots, that's shaped by your lens. So you can look at a film shot in bokeh and you can tell what kind of camera they used.
Yeah.
Based on the shape of the lens. So I wonder if they specifically were using like a small 4-leaf lens.
Yeah.
That's just like a camera
it's
thing.
also notable that once our group of folks, like whether they're the actors or the lovers, end up in the forest, that's sort of when they cross the veil. They sort of cross the line between like
you don't see
this
they
world
100%
and the next.
ate a leaf inside of a fucking circle of mushrooms.
Yeah,
you know
like
we
don't see any of that, and there's not like an actual physical veil, like in the movie Annihilation or anything.
Yeah,
but like
it would be fucking rad though.
But like we are basically introduced to, but like very subtly so, that the concept of entering the forest is the thing that puts them in the sort of like fey otherworld and like liminality.
Yeah,
because when they're not in the forest, nothing weird is happening.
Yeah, it treats to the like classic fairy tale logic that like forests are places of like danger and mysticism and like otherworldliness, and like stay out of the forest. Tell your kids, hey, there's like an old lady there that's going to try and bake you into a pie and eat your face.
Well, and also
stay out of the fucking woods.
The idea that if you eat something from the fae, then you're not going to come back. Although nobody's really actually eating anything in this.
That's not true.
That's
not true. The donkey eats food and comes back, but he also always remembers what happened.
He also comes back very, very scarred. About this. It's very apparent in the 1999 movie. I was just like, oh man, everybody had a happy ending with this guy.
Oh yeah, he was just like sad and missing the girl that he loved.
Yeah. Which is a thing that we also hear in like fairy stories. Like the people who do in fact make it back, they sort of always have like a wistful emotion about returning to the fae.
There's a little bit less joy, a little bit less color in reality, because the fae realm is like a little hyper real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that 99 portrays this a little bit more melancholically. Whereas the 69 version, he comes back and he's like sad for a little bit, and then they do the play thing and they get their medals or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, me and the boys back at it again. And they're just out. Cool. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, they just like do a dance and they're done.
Yeah.
But like 99 like kind of hits you with a sting.
The play itself, though funny in the 69, very, very funny, is comedy fucking gold in the 99.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best comedies you'll ever watch is 15 minutes of the end of the 99 movie.
Yeah.
It is funny to no end.
Yeah.
And then ends on this wildly deep read from Sam
Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell just fucking slaying it, dude. Out of nowhere. The transition from haha, this guy's making jokes, like the internal kayfabe of this play, right? Going from like haha, I'm making jokes, to him like very poignantly like pulling the wig off and delivering these lines with so much weight. Like, we've seen Sam Rockwell in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, but it's just more than we've seen in so long from him.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's really
dude.
Nice that he was able to sort of like honor both sides of the acting spectrum there, from like comedy to drama.
Yeah, in like a single sequence.
In a single sentence.
Yeah. Also, the 99's director is fucking delicious. The way because he has like, he's delivering like prompts for lines.
Oh yeah.
And in general, the prompts are like, thy. It's like I'm giving you a prompt. But in the 99, the first 2 prompts are reasonable, and every prompt after that is a man who is so fucking absolutely done with your shit.
Yeah.
Bro, he's so angry and violent about it. They fucking open that goddamn window and it's bricked up. Dude, that almost broke me.
The thing about it is I know that happens.
It's so
and I
good.
Looked at him and I was like, oh no! Like, what are they gonna do? I know.
Yeah, like they're gonna do the lamp.
I've seen this movie before.
It's delivered with just a little bit more like comedic timing.
Yeah.
And of course the lamp and the dog. This is the lamp that represents the crescent moon, and I am he who is the man in the moon.
This my lamp, this my bush, and this my dog.
And this my dog. It's so fucking funny.
And it's like actually a dog, whereas in the 69 movie, it's not. It's
a hay dog.
It's like a hay.
Yeah, because all
like
their costumes are hay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little hay. It's like a little hay dog.
Yeah.
And the lion's just like a dude covered in hay. The wall is, even though the wall is like probably funnier in the 99.
Yeah.
I love the wall in the 69.
Yeah.
He's so good. And this dude handing the brick over to be the peephole.
Yeah.
It fucking killed me, dude.
Hilarious.
It's so fucking funny.
When I was young, I told this last night to you, but I'll tell it again for the folks listening. But like when I was in this, that was my role, was the wall.
Yeah.
And the director, the teacher, like didn't give any like direction for what she wanted it to be. So my mom and I were trying to figure it out. My mom had this great idea, like I'll just bring home a real big box from work. Like a huge box, like not like
a refrigerator box.
Yeah, no, like a dryer box, like a washer, like a dryer, like a stove. A huge box. I had like stick my arms through it, and it was like I didn't I had to have my arms straight out like a T, and I could bend at the elbow, but like not very well, right? I had to like have this box. I had like it was painted, and we had like ivy and stuff on it. And when I did this play, in one of the times that we did it, one of the actors in it, they knocked on the wall and they knocked on the box and they hit it so hard I thought it caved in. And like I definitely like broke character a little bit, but the way that this is played, that's supposed to be that way. It was I think the not on purpose.
I think the play needs to be like strong direction for everything.
Yeah.
And then the players, and I think the 99 does this the best. The 69 is a little bit more organized with the players, but I think the 99 does this great job of making the players feel like just 8 motherfuckers you picked up on the street. The 99 feels like you and me and like 7 of you out there listening to this podcast episode decided to be the players. I think
we're up to 9 now.
Yeah, 9 of you out there decide to be the players in this local play, and like everybody else is like an adult and they're like practicing their lines, and we're like, well, but Julie said that she's going to be the director, so we don't have to really remember our lines. Yeah. I just have to get the vibes for it. And Julie fucking hates that we're not participating, because we're not actors. We're just a bunch of assholes, right? So, like, we don't know what's going on. And to what it's worth, I think the 69 chides better. The, like, main characters' chides really seem to, like, affect the play more.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 99, the chides are it's the same chides, and they're still as funny. Right? But like it's less, it feels less vitriolic. And I don't think the chides are necessarily vitriolic, but it's the idea that like these chides fucking break these players a little bit because they like realize, and I think the only time the 99 outperforms the chiding is specifically Sam Rockwell being a woman. And when they laugh at his voice, you can see this like genuinely hurt him, but he knows this is what they have to do.
Yeah.
So he like fights through it. And I think I think the reason why that works so well is because he has this break at the end.
Yeah.
You know, like you're talking about how like you had a break, right? Yeah. But he has this break at the end where he takes the wig off and he drops the high-pitched voice and he delivers his final lines at the death of oh my god, I can't remember his partner's name. At the death of his soldier love or whatever. He delivers those lines in his voice with this poignancy where you see the camera cuts back to our lovers, our 3 lovers, couples of lovers. You see them like realize that chiding this play was fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And that these people really care.
Like they were like mocking
it hurts.
And it was like, oh, that's a real person up there.
Yeah. It's
that's an actor playing a bit.
It makes it feel, and again, like this may not be a Billy Shakes thing, this may be a specifically the 99 interpretation, right? Because all play is interpretation of the original script and intention. But like it feels so much like a very specific and tactical moment to say like, hey, you might not have liked this fucking movie, but these people cared enough to put this on, to do these costumes, to show up every day, and to do the fucking work. And like, you might not like it, but you keep that shit to your fucking self, dude. Because these are real people.
Yeah.
Behind the makeup, behind the silly costumes, behind the fuck-ups.
Yeah, and we actually don't have that in the 69 version at all.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, we don't have that
a common
hit.
way to play that part. But also, so aside from that, we also end with the happily ever after of like all three couples getting married on the same day and having their honeymoon on like the same night. So we're hitting like big fertility.
Oh my god!
There.
Well, and it's very triple god coded. It's very like not necessarily like Maiden Mother Crone, but like the three because there's a line in, and I didn't notice it in the 99, but I picked it up in the 69, where somebody calls to the three wizened women.
Yeah.
Right? The three seers.
To the fates.
The fates, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say they call them the
That's
three
in the
wizened
play.
women or something.
Yeah.
But there's like a call out to that. And I was like, it felt more poignant in the 69 that we have three couples and they call out to the three.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt more poignant in the 69 like that. So, and you know what? I think this is a great example of, and like, I think this play very much so harkens towards Beltane energy. Yeah. For a myriad of reasons. You know, especially with regard to the romance and stuff like that. And I think like a superposition of the capacity, of the ability that we had to see two very distinctly different versions of this production. Right. And I highly recommend this. You know, we've said this before. Highly recommend you do something like this. Watch multiple versions of it. Is that you get different things. Yeah. They even though it's the exact same words.
But you're also getting the same thing.
Yeah, well, even though it's the exact same words, right? The exact same actions, the exact same story, you get this very different look at the story. And I think that from a critiquing standpoint, from an analytical standpoint, I think this gives you an opportunity to see the sort of human factor in these things. You know, after we watched the 69, I had this thought last night. It reminds me of tarot. Mm-hmm. Right? Insofar as if you have like a Rider White, you have
a version of it.
I have, listen, this is what I'm going to say. At least one. I have too many tarot decks. Shut the fuck up. That's what I'm going to say about that. Shut the fuck up. But like, if you have the Rider White tarot deck, right, you have like a very specific interpretation of tarot based on the imagery and like your card vibes, right? Yeah. But like when you get a second tarot deck that's not Rider White, but like it's still Five of Pentacles, it's still the fucking Hierophant and shit. Right? It's the same shit, but the art's different. The words in the little book you get in the box is different. The texture of the cards. I have a set of tarot cards, a French set of tarot cards that are like Cthulhu themed, that are like 8x3 or something. They're like big, long, and they're like heavy Italian paper. When I first got them, you could still smell the alcohol from the ink because they were like hand-stamped tarot cards. They're a fucking super nice tarot deck. Right? But like those cards have a different energy. It's the Hierophant is a Hierophant. But a Hierophant isn't a monopole. He's not a single pillar, right? He's a representation of something that's a bit more complex, a bit more human. Yeah. Right? And I think watching something like this in its multiplicity, in multiple versions, you get this opportunity to not only experience Billy Shakes in the best possible way, right? But you get to experience the sort of human interaction with something that's like hyper real, larger than humans, not to fucking fluff Billy Shakes more than he already gets on a daily basis, right? But like, there's such different stories. And I think that cycling back to the Sabbats and the very idea of us doing these like 102, 103, 104, 105s and doing like Magic and Media that we're doing for this particular year of Sabbats everybody approaches these Sabbats in very different ways, right? For some, Beltane is, if you live in a regime where Beltane is still a bit early spring, mid-spring, early spring, sometimes for those people, Beltane is still planting. For others closer to the equator, Beltane is full growth. You planted 2, 3, 4 months ago, man.
Yeah.
Now you're in the flow of it, right? And it's that like, for some, Beltane, right? This is a fantastic example. Beltane is generally the completion of spring, right? The fulfillment of love.
Yeah.
Right? If we're gonna allow me to put gild the lily a little too much, right? But like for some, Beltane is wedding season.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas for us, Beltane was the announcement of our engagement.
Well, that's a little later than Beltane, but yeah.
Yeah, but a little later than Beltane. Yeah. And the end of summer season was the wedding.
Yeah.
Right? So even though
Beltane was when we decided to get married, not necessarily the announcement of our engagement.
But Beltane was when we decided to get married. And so it's like, even though Beltane is the same thing, the same time, right? The interpretation and the meaning is a little different from us. If you got married on Beltane, Beltane would have a lot more, or near and around Beltane, Beltane would have a lot more of the like completion of that action, like transition to higher order, love, like a Midsummer Night's Dream, right? For you. Whereas for us, Beltane is like a solidification of a decision, right? But not the full completion of that, because we didn't get married until third Sabbath of the summer.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Right? To, again, oversimplify things. But so, and I think that more than just the fact that A Midsummer Night's Dream, though called Midsummer, is so heavily Beltane coded, and if you disagree with this, please, for the love of God, tell me I'm wrong in the comments. I'm prepared to fight with you. It's okay. Yeah. Boom. But, like, I think the benefit of seeing both, and I would want that if you are going to watch A Midsummer Night's Dream, even if you can't access the 99 or whatever, watch the 69 and the 35 or 7 or 9 or whatever the 30s one is. Or watch
one of the many plays.
Watch the 22 and then, like, watch the 22 and then go on YouTube and watch one of the plays. Right? We saw one that was a play from college.
Yeah, there is a whole bunch.
There was like a bunch on YouTube. Yeah. So like, go watch one of those plays. In your local theater house putting it on, watch your theater house, and then when you get home from seeing your theater house do it live this summer or whatever the fuck, watch the 22, watch the 39, watch the 69, watch the 99, whatever, right? But like,
see how differently people interpret it, in the same manner that different people would interpret tarot cards or other divination aids.
Not just how other people interpret tarot cards, but how different tarot cards in the same suit or whatever.
Yeah.
Could be interpreted differently. Because the tarot card is the same. Oberon is Oberon. Yeah. Right?
But
Puck
in different...
Puck, but every Puck is different.
In different tarot card sets, even though the card may be the same, the archetype may be the same, it's still interpreted differently.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And I think that the, like, to me, the final nail in the coffin that A Midsummer Night's Dream is like peak Beltane is that Beltane, and this is true for all Sabbats, but I feel like it's the most true for spring Sabbats and fall Sabbats, but most especially spring Sabbats, because it's the easiest to tell, right? Beltane is a specific time, but for every distinct distance from the equator in the northern or southern hemisphere, it has a different meaning. It's the same holiday, but Beltane in Texas, right? We're going to use America because we're Americans. Sorry. It's just easier for me this way. But like, Beltane in Texas is not the same as Beltane here in Northern California, and it's not the same as fucking Beltane in Alaska.
Yeah.
Just because of our distance from the equator. Just because of physical, practical differences. And I think the easiest way to really inculcate your Beltane into yourself is to be aware of other Beltanes, right? We do not understand light without darkness. We do not understand evil without goodness. This is part of the like hyper duality of existence, right? And I think that this is like, I feel like a Midsummer Night's Dream, having watched both of these back to, like, literally right after another. It kind of really inspired me about Sabbats, insofar as we all have, like, we know the history. We can learn the history. We did it for 4 years. We taught you guys the history of the Sabbats, right? And the stories of the Sabbats and the things you can do in the Sabbats. But if you live in a place of a north enough clime that your Beltane is still rainy, it's not the same as our Beltane. And it's not the same as the Beltane for our friends and family and patrons who live in a southern-more clime where by their Beltane, it's 95 fucking degrees outside, baby. You should have planted 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that, and using Billy Shakes as like the mode for this analysis, right? And this is what gave me the idea of tarot, what gave me that tarot vibe, is that like we get this. We are blessed with this opportunity. I hate saying that, but we're gifted the opportunity through something coded in that space to interpret it in different ways to give us a better understanding of how our interpretations are ours and ours alone. Right? They're ours relative to clime, right? Whether you live southern or more northern clime. It's ours relative to weather, mountain or coastal or anything like that. I mean, like we're going to my brother-in-law and my sister's house later today. They live 40 minutes away from our house. It's going to be 10 degrees hotter. If I'm lucky. It might be 20.
Yeah.
It's a shithole there. It's not, but fucking fuck cities. We live in the woods, but like, it's one of those things. And you know, it's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I work in Petaluma, right? So, and like, fucking Jesus, the other day in Petaluma it was like so hot.
Yeah,
I was just like, what is this dry hot air bullshit? It's still, you know, whatever May. What's going on? But like, this really, to me, sort of exemplifies the individuation of the Sabbat.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that Beltane is like more so than Ostara and Imbolc, because those are still earlier in the year, where you're like a little bit more winter coded in the Northern Hemisphere. Right? I think Ostara is, because it's the end of the spring Sabbats, it's the most likely to show where in some places it's more summery and in some places it's more wintry. Right? And how that can affect our interpretation of the Sabbats. Right? And I think that in future, when we look at non-standard Sabbats, when we look at like blots in Norse mythology, we're going to see where sometimes our spring Sabbats are significantly more cold.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes our winter Sabbats are significantly more bleak. As compared to the more Southern European, and I say Southern European as is the main body of Europe, just not fucking Iceland and shit. Right? Norway and shit, like mad northern climes, right? Whereas you see they have a different interpretation of these things, and even more different when you move over to the 60s and 70s Americanization of these things, with Gerald Gardner and all this shit, right? Where he's like, he's doing like fucking California weather. That shit's not fair or the same.
Yeah.
Some of our patrons out there will know when they tell us about fucking ice storms blowing ice sideways.
And we're just it's
it
like 60
gently
degrees
rains here sometimes, but like it's not that bad. We don't really get frost except for maybe one evening a year.
Yeah.
Like here we're underneath the redwoods. So like our house is insulated from that. And they're like, it's been raining ice sideways for 2 months. What are you fucking on? So it's a very, to me, this gives Beltane this extra energy of like analysis and understanding where we get to experience difference. right? And in that difference, we not only get to understand our situation, our Beltanes individually more, but we also get to understand differential Beltanes, right? And A Midsummer Night's Dream is, regardless of whether it's still cold on your Beltane or it's too hot on your Beltane, a season of flowers and love and mystery and the veil being thin and the Fae just doing Fae stuff, right? A Midsummer Night's Dream, not really painting the Fae as the best people, but that's Billy Shake's problem, not my problem. But like you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That? So, yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen the 99 like a bajillion times.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you've seen that movie like a bajillion fucking times.
Not a bajillion, but I've seen it a few times.
I've seen it a bunch of times. It's one of those movies I was telling Julie the other day, or yesterday when we watched it. It's one of those movies that there's something about it that my mind just can't fully commit to memory all of the details. And I think it's because it's really like 3 stories simultaneously happening.
Yeah.
But like, it's one of those movies it's so good, and I probably have seen the 69 before, but I don't remember.
I definitely have not.
Yeah. And the only reason why I say I've probably seen it is because I love 60s and 70s film.
Yeah.
So it's not likely I would have passed that up if it was ever presented to me as like a VHS tape or some bullshit. Like at a movie rental store if you're old. But like, I don't think I've seen the 30s one, which is why I want to watch that.
Yeah.
And I also, man, and like, I doubt it's going to happen this year. I would really love to see this on stage.
Oh yeah, that would be really fun.
If we can this year, I would really love to see this on stage.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I love just how absurd this is.
Yeah.
Like peak Billy Shakes.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like, what do you think? Do you think A Midsummer Night's Dream fits Beltane? Do you disagree? Do you have a better Beltane movie that you would recommend? Because if you do, comment in the thing below. Like, comment on YouTube, send me an email, hit me up on social media. It's Nerd Jive everywhere, whatever. Let us know so that way, because this is the thing, man. We'll watch it and we'll just do a TikTok about it or whatever.
Yeah.
So because like I am so prepared to be fucking dead wrong, and they're like, "Oh, duh, it's whatever." Movie. It's The Matrix. You don't even get it, and then watch The Matrix and like change my life.
Yeah.
You know? I'm always willing to be proven wrong, right? That's the fun part of doing this sort of thing. So like, let me know what you think. What your favorite part was before we sign out fully. Like, what was of A Midsummer Night's Dream? Whether you want to break it out 69, 99 is up to you. What's your favorite bit?
It has to be the play. If nothing else, because I have like a lot of nostalgia tied around
wall
the story.
Specifically.
So like it's the play part with the wall because I did that thing.
Sure.
So like that's definitely my favorite bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I think my favorite bit is specifically Puck, and it kills me to say this. It really does, because I love Tucci's Puck. But Ian Holmes' Puck fucking slaughters.
Yeah.
Dude. It is a bloodbath. That guy is so funny. I'm crying blood. He's so funny. He's so crazy. I love it so much. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that. His direction on that was probably, "Sir, you're a genius and an adult. Do whatever you want." And he committed 110%.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love Puck really fucking much, dude.
Yeah.
So much. But yeah, out there, y'all, what's your favorite part? What did you think about these movies?
Have you seen these movies
before?
What do you think?
Exactly.
Tell us your Beltane recommendations, and do you have any recommendations for Midsummer movies?
Is Midsummer the next one?
It sure is.
Okay. What's your recommendations for Midsummer? Yeah. If the answer is Midsummer, don't worry.
We're always looking to make an accidental double feature, guys.
boy, aren't we? But yeah, before we depart, shout out to our patrons. You guys are awesome.
Thank you for helping us do
us.
what we do and better every time.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're the best. If you want to join our Patreon, it's linked in the stuff. It's Nerd Jive on Patreon. It's Nerd Jive everywhere.
Yeah, and if you're
Don't
listening
worry
to this or watching this as it comes out, we appreciate you hanging in on this channel. This is the best way to support us is by subscribing. And also,
Liking,
we know we have not been around
leaving a
much,
comment.
and we are going to be talking about that relatively soon, and sort of the reasons why we think that that's been happening, because it is an interesting and, like, magic-based
The
thing.
upcoming pub chat is going to be dramatic.
Yeah, we're going to be vulnerable, I suppose.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're fine.
Yeah, everything's good.
Fine.
It's just
Nobody's
there's more.
sick.
Yeah.
But we've got like thoughts and feelings about it too.
Yeah.
Because we miss you as much or probably more than you miss us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Julie Norgrove. This has been the Horn
And Cauldron
podcast. And we'll catch you guys next time. Stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.